Chapter 90. Some See the Stars. In September 2014, Sendil made the ritual call. Today is my birthday. Since I can never remember dates and then feel miserable about forgetting important ones, I had bullied Sendil into making this annual call. Happy birthday, Sendil, I chirped. How many years today? 18, he said. Oh, I was momentarily taken aback. Wow, what plans for today? Nothing. I will finish my course and go. Nothing. I will finish my course and then go to college, he said. And in the evening? I asked. Nothing. End of the month, so I have no money left. If I get a job this weekend, maybe next week I will get some money. Then I will go for a movie with my friends. I have to go now, he said abruptly. No balance in my phone. And he was gone. 18 years. I kept thinking. 18 years. I kept thinking. I couldn't get over the fact that Senthil was now an adult. I had known him for a really long time. From the time he was 10, for almost half his life. First as a pesky kid, then as an exemplary student, and finally as a troubled teenager. That evening, Senthil and I sat for a long time on the playground at the children's home and rehashed old memories. His days as the bad boy of my class, my teething troubles as a teacher at the children's home, his resurrection as a star student, my turn as a runner at the half marathon, his friendship with my sons, his first love and the painful breakup soon after, my son turning up as his mad teacher and his happy email to me on the occasion, his memories of his mother and finding his long lost brothers, the 2 years of mentorship project. We shared gossip about mad volunteers and the children and administrators at the children's home. It seemed to me that the two of us had grown up together. There was a companionable silence as we took in the fading light, the closing sounds of a football match, and the glass house glinting down at us. And then Sendil opened up to me about his early childhood. His mother, her disappearance, the turmoil, and the abuse that followed her absence. He shivered lightly as he recounted the cold, lonely days on the streets without her. At that moment, I was standing in his shoes. I could understand him. I could empathize with him, and his pain was my own. It was another time and a different context, but I had known the loneliness of a child dropped into an adult arena, trying to cope with things that were completely out of my league. I knew the feeling of being trapped in a world that was chaotic, where the adults were in control and I was just a tiny squashable bug down there looking up, trying to get a handle on things that were beyond my reach. I was back to my early school days in Kolkata school, where Punitive discipline was commonplace even at kindergarten level. No class was complete without a couple of slaps or a rap on the knuckle. There was a long list of things that could get you into trouble. Talking in the class, not doing homework, not being able to answer the question asked, not having sharpened pencils, not writing quick enough. These were the actions that we knew had repercussions. But since we were never read out or crying, there were times when we ended up kneeling outside the class, never knowing the reason why. The worst of all had to be the punishment for an uncovered book or a book with torn cover. The punishment for that was having to strip down to our underwear in front of the class. The teacher who thought this up had put a lot of effort into this one. As she explained to us, it would help us appreciate how a poor naked book felt when not covered properly. Apparently, it was a lesson in developing empathy, even if for a poor inanimate object. The violence initiated at the teacher's level percolated through the institution, poisoning all the interactions at every level. There was bullying in the buses, in the corridors, in the bathrooms, in the playgrounds. As the youngest in school, the kindergartners and primary students were at the receiving end all the time. From the time I go on to the school bus in the morning, I had my antennae on high receptive mode, always on the lookout for a reprimand or trouble. I kept my head low, made little eye contact, breathed as softly as I could, and when the teacher asked a question in the class, I held my breath till the moment of danger had passed. There was probably some academic learning that happened between all this drama, even if I have no memories of it. There was no escaping, even when I was not at school. The downtime was time spent steeling myself for the inevitability of the blow. The night brought no reprieve, and if I ever woke up unexpectedly at night, I lay awake watching for the sky to lighten, the fear meter ticking away as always. My most lucid memory of kindergarten is getting a hard slap on the side of my head from the dance master. He hit me so hard that I bounced off the wall at the back and blacked out. When I gained consciousness and found him leaning over me, I turned cold with terror. I was not sure what my crime was, but I did not doubt the terrible consequences which would follow. The scars of those early years never seemed to heal completely. With full knowledge of the harm that I was doing to myself, I had nevertheless continued to look back in anger for most of my life, seeking answers and trying to come to grips with the unfathomable. On Senthil's 18th birthday, more than 40 years after my abuse, I revisited that lonely spot with Senthil. Having company made it easier, and the shared insight became the bridge across which our lives met. Then I followed his lead and set down the burden I had carried all these years. I understood that I could choose to walk away from my pain, and I exercised that choice. It was no longer necessary to measure its weight and know its contours. If Senthil had never felt the need to ask why, I too could accept the fact that the universe did not owe me any answers. Another watershed crossed. Senthil and I were fated to grow up together. Vaibhav had described this bonding as a two-way journey. One is the journey of the volunteer and the other is the journey of the child. It is a symphony of these two intertwined journeys that yields the beautiful stories of change. Senthil had been going through a rough patch for the past years. Bursts of anger followed by long periods of brooding silence. He had been getting into trouble at school as well as at children's home as a result. But that evening, he spoke lightly and laughed easily, and all too soon it was time for me to leave. He walked me to my car, which was parked down the road. As I looked up at him, standing ahead over me, I realized that he would soon be leaving the children's home and moving out into the world. An adult, I thought wonderingly. Stars were beginning to make an appearance in the darkening sky, and suddenly nostalgia struck. Do you still look up at the stars for your mother? I asked. No time. Sindhil smiled and shrugged. The star watching time is now backbreaking time. It is a time slot for me to wash my clothes, and then, on schedule, I get an excruciating backache. Before I could respond, he brushed the topic aside and opened the car door for me. As I was getting in, he glanced Sir As I was getting in, he glanced surreptitiously at the sky and then looked down just as quickly. I watched him walk down the road. He turned and waved to me before disappearing into the gate. He turned and waved to me before disappearing into the gate. I watched till he was no longer in sight. Then I started the car and drove away.